Firefight in Egypt. Top police officer shot dead as security forces storm militants' hideout. Diplomatic thaw. Iran's president promises not to build nuclear weapons. And the ACT defiant. Gay marriage bill introduced despite legal threats from the new federal government.
From SBS, this is World News Australia.
Good evening and welcome to the program. I'm Kathy Novak. Egyptian security forces have exchanged fire with militants after storming a town near Cairo. A senior police officer died in the clashes as soldiers backed by helicopters surrounded Kardassa, searching for those blamed for a massacre last month.
Shots ring out in the shadow of the pyramids. Security forces waiting for tear gas to disperse an angry crowd. But it doesn't work. This amateur vision, aired on state TV, shows a senior security chief gunned down. Nabil Farag, a senior symbol of law and order, bleeding to death on the streets of Kardassa. It's a militant stronghold. Witnesses say that it's dangerously close to Cairo.
This fighting is getting closer and closer to the main urban areas of Egypt at the moment.
As the Air Force calls in aerial support, terrified residents take their cue to leave.
أنا طالع بولادي يعني عشان خاطر ما فيش عناصر إجرامية تيجي تستخبى في البؤر اللي ورانا أو كده فتصيبنا بالأذى. فحاليا أنا طالع أقعد مع أهلي يومين ثلاثة كده لحد ما الأمور تستقر وبعدين راجع تاني إن شاء الله.
كرداسة هي ناسها طيبة جدا وكويسين، حابين إن هي ما يكونش فيها أي حد يسيء لها من أي اتجاه بقى.
Across the country, hardline supporters of ousted President Mohamed Morsi are proving they won't go quietly.
We saw a similar thing in a town called Delga happen a few days ago. That was a town again where there had been a mob that had taken over the town, over the village, kicked out the police, turned it into a no-go area for security forces.
Before the tear gas and gunfire, authorities imposed a daytime curfew, going door to door in search of 140 wanted men. 32 were arrested in connection with the murder of 11 Kardassa policemen. Reprisal killings after a bloody crackdown on pro-Morsi supporter camps on August 14th. The interim government is tightening its grip. Around 1,000 Islamists have been killed in 2 months. Another 2,000 members of the Muslim Brotherhood have been arrested. Gary Cox, World News Australia.
The son of slain Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, has appeared in court in Zintan tonight, west of the capital Tripoli. He faces security charges related to the 2011 uprising that toppled his father. The trial was adjourned until December. Authorities say the hearing will not be open to the public. Here, Prime Minister Tony Abbott has tried to reassure Indonesia that his border protection policies won't undermine the country's sovereignty. As the government pushes ahead with its plans, a senior Indonesian MP has labelled the coalition's turn back the boats policy offensive.
The new immigration minister gets down to business with the senior officials who'll implement the government's border protection strategy.
The coalition has been elected with a very clear mandate to do one very important job, and that is to stop the boats.
Together, the military, police, customs and others will take part in Operation Sovereign Borders.
One of the key issues here is we're bringing together 15 different agencies to work on this one task together.
Indonesia's increasingly critical. Senior MP Tantowi Yawa says turning back asylum seeker boats is at odds with Indonesia's sovereignty.
The policy will be very offensive, and we in the parliaments fully support what was said by our foreign ministers, that we will fully reject the policy.
French President François Hollande has joined leaders from across Africa in Mali for the inauguration of President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta. Thousands of supporters turned out in the capital Bamako to witness the nation enter a new era of democracy. Keïta was elected in a landslide in August after France helped oust Islamist insurgents who had taken over the north of the country. Syria's President Bashar al-Assad says he's committed to destroying his country's chemical weapons, but he's warning it could take a year. In an interview with Fox News, he again denied responsibility for the deadly chemical attack near Damascus last month.
No one has verified the credibility of the videos and the pictures. No one verified.
The UN says more than 100,000 people have been killed in the Syrian conflict since 2011. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani appears to be making diplomatic overtures to longtime enemy, the United States. Speaking ahead of a visit to the United Nations, he told a U.S. television network that his country will never build a nuclear weapon.
In his first interview since becoming the president of Iran, Hassan Rouhani wasted no time making news. Is Tehran trying to build a nuclear weapons arsenal?
We have never pursued or sought a nuclear bomb, and we are not going to do so.
What's more, the new leader made it clear to the U.S. network NBC the Obama administration would not be getting mixed signals in future talks on Iran's nuclear program.
In its nuclear program, this government enters with full power and has complete authority. I have given the nuclear negotiations portfolio to the Foreign Ministry. The problem won't be from our side. We have sufficient political latitude to solve this problem.
The U.S. has long accused Iran of lying about its intentions, and that suspicion has driven Washington to impose round after round of economic sanctions on Tehran. Analysts say those sanctions have starved the Iranian economy, which Rouhani is under pressure to rejuvenate. But the Obama administration, which tried and failed to improve relations with the previous government of Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, is trying again.
There is an opportunity here for diplomacy. I hope the Iranians take advantage of it. There are indications that Rouhani, the new president, is somebody who is looking to open dialogue with the West and with the United States in a way that we haven't seen in the past, and so we should test it.
The Mexican beach resort of Acapulco was once a getaway for Hollywood stars and millionaires. Now it's a dangerous flood zone, and tens of thousands of tourists from all around the world are stranded.
Acapulco Airport, gateway to countless sunny holidays, now waist deep in water. And it's very hard to leave for the tens of thousands stuck here. Those that can are heading north to a military base, another runway bursting with people, all hoping they'll get a one-way ticket out of there.
There is no roads, no planes, physically no way to get out of Acapulco.
But the people who live here are left clinging on, a city where people are now swimming to escape. In the hillsides, it's even harder, and this is the force they're facing. A double hit of two storms, Ingrid and Manuel, have created the worst weather in Mexico for decades, killing more than 50 people so far. He calls for calm, but as the army try to bring in supplies overnight, others help themselves to some by looting supermarkets, and patience is also running low.
I've got a bad impression of Mexico with what is happening in Acapulco. We've been here for almost 6 hours standing in a queue. They're going to take us to Mexico City, but really there's nothing. We're in a queue where a soldier comes and says one thing, while another says another thing.
This is a country trying to bring in enough food and water and get the many stranded tourists out. And forecasters warn Mexico could face another storm in the next few days.
The greats of heavyweight boxing, Ken Norton, has died aged 70. In 1973, Norton broke Muhammad Ali's jaw. He fought during the golden era of heavyweights that also included George Foreman and Joe Frazier. To the weather now. A cold front is clipping South Australia, triggering a few showers. An offshore low is bringing showers into eastern Victoria and patchy rain over Tasmania. A trough is directing hot, dry northwesterlies into Queensland. In the major centres, fine in Sydney, Brisbane and Darwin. Thunder for Perth. A few showers in Hobart, Adelaide and Melbourne. Looking further afield, rain in Wellington, Tahiti and Samoa. Fine for Nandi. In Southeast Asia, a few clouds in Kuala Lumpur and Singapore, rain in Jakarta, Port Moresby and Phnom Penh, thunder for Bangkok. Further north, fine in Seoul and Beijing, cloudy for Shanghai, rain in Taipei, Manila and Hanoi, a few clouds in Tokyo. Heading west, thunder in Delhi, a few showers in Mumbai, fine for Beirut, Jerusalem, Baghdad and Dubai, cloudy in Tehran. To Europe, rain in Moscow and Stockholm, fine for Madrid, Warsaw and Belgrade, cloudy in Rome, Paris and Istanbul. In Africa, partly cloudy in Nairobi, Cairo and Johannesburg, rain for Dakar and Algiers, fine in Harare and Casablanca. In South America, thunder in Panama City, a few showers for La Paz, Caracas and Rio, fine in Lima. And for North America, rain in Mexico City, partly cloudy for LA, Vancouver and Toronto, fine in New York and Washington. That's the world this Thursday. I'm Kathy Novak. Good night.